Good morning. Happy Friday. I am out here in the greenhouse this morning because I don't know if you can hear, but it is raining. And it is not super warm out. Actually, it's the warmest it's going to be all day right now. It is like 50 some degrees out, like 52 degrees out. So it's not bad out right now, but tonight it is supposed to frost. So love that for me. It is supposed to get down to, I don't even know. The last time I checked it was like 29. It's supposed to frost tonight, basically, is the key here. I do have 7 tomato plants in the ground already. So these are still in here. All of those, and I have more over here actually, down here. These are tomatoes down here. So I do have a plan. I have frost blankets from last fall. I bought some at Menards, and frost blankets just come in a box. It's just one big sheet of it, and you can cut it to be whatever size you want. So in here, in the greenhouse, I have the heat mats on right now. They've been on since last night. I wanted to go ahead and turn them on and see how much warmth I could get built up in here today. After I leave here this morning, the greenhouse will be sealed up the rest of the day. So before I go inside, I'm gonna make sure everybody has what they need in terms of water. I think they do. I watered everybody for the most part yesterday. So I'm going to make sure everybody has water. I may water these 2 big guys. But they are kind of sitting in the drip area. I don't know if you can see right here, it's like wet. Because we have this thing held together with zip ties, and so to use the zip ties to hold it together, we had to like poke holes in the plastic. Obviously, you can't just put zip ties through plastic and not have a hole. So, sometimes the holes up near the top leak when it rains, which is not that big of a deal. It's just water, you know. So I'm gonna leave it sealed up in here all day. Now, before, it's supposedly supposed to stop raining about 5 o'clock this afternoon. If that happens, that will be a godsend, because I need to come out and cover everybody up before bedtime. I'm actually also going to cover up everybody in the greenhouse. I have some frost blankets down here on the floor that I use in here, and they are cut to size where I can cover everything up in here on the shelves, and they fit. So out in the garden, I can't show you because it's raining, but out in the garden I have frost blankets for each tomato plant. I have 7 tomato plants out there. I am also going to be covering the tomato plants up with like big plastic tubs, like storage tubs, I guess. I have a bunch of clear ones. They all have stuff in them, but I'm gonna take the stuff out of them so I can use them in the garden tonight. I'm gonna put those on. If it gets sunny and it stops raining around 5, I will put them on like at 5 o'clock. I'm gonna see if I can get any extra heat built up in those containers at all. If I can, that would be awesome. If I could keep it above freezing under those containers, that would be even more awesome. But I am gonna put the frost blanket over the top of the tomato plants, just draped. I'm not gonna like stake it down because it will like bend the top, and then they take a little while to recover from that. They don't really like to be bent, which like I can understand that. I mean, I'm glad I didn't plant more of the garden, but like, it's Mother's Day weekend this weekend, and that's the weekend you're supposed to plant your garden. Now, I was fast and I did some last week, but I was like, oh, it won't. You know, it's Indiana. The weather changes every 5 minutes. Like, they predict things are gonna happen, and then the next day, they're like, never mind. So I was like, nah, I'm not real worried about it. Even if it gets cool, like mid-30s, they'll be fine, like whatever. But here we are. the day of the frost, and it appears that the frost is still going to happen, so yay. But yeah, I'm out here in the greenhouse, and some of the tomato plants are looking a little rough at this point, but I mean, that's to be expected. They've been in the greenhouse for like a month and a half at this point, or I think they came out at the very end of March, and it is mid-May now. They are still in their little 3.5-inch pots. So let me put the camera down. So like, this is a pink oxheart plant, and it has a little bit of like leaf yellowing going on these bottom branches. The leaves are just starting to look a little bit yellower on here, but like up at the top, it still looks like really healthy and happy. So, and I've been picking flowers off of these like crazy. So I'm not super concerned about these. I'll just cut this off before it goes in the ground. This branch and this branch. I'll plant it up to probably about here. And it'll be fine, but like, look at all the roots coming out of the bottom of this baby. Those are some roots right there. So this is why this plant is struggling. It's because the pot is too small. But at this point in the season, I mean, these are gonna go in the ground next week. I really don't want to up pot again and then immediately transplant them into the ground. I do still have a few plants that don't have homes. I have a couple pink oxheart plants, which is like the one I just showed. The one I just showed actually looks the worst of all the plants in here, I think. There's a couple more that have some yellow leaves, but they're not like real bad. I have a San Marzano that has a couple yellow leaves, but they don't look too bad. I am gonna make sure that nothing is touching the plastic in here tonight, because the last time it frosted, I had a tray like pushed all the way up against the wall in here, and the next morning I came out and the leaves that were touching the plastic had frozen a little bit. They didn't really like it. So I just need to make sure none of my trays are touching the wall. Over here it's not an issue because there's space between the shelf and the wall. So over here, this is my tray of extra herbs. All of these herbs are extras, and by extras I mean they didn't find new homes. So I guess they're just gonna live with me. All this basil, plus more basil on the other side. But all these tomatoes that are in here, this and this and this, these are triple crops. And then I have some ghost cherries in here, which is what these are. These are all ghost cherries. And then this one, this is the only one I had germinate. This is called a blonde girl cherry. And these ghost cherry and blonde girl cherry seeds Katie gave me. And she got them from this website called Tomato Fest. And I have been looking through their website quite a bit lately, trying to decide on some new selling varieties for next year. And they have some really cool tomato varieties. They have a whole project called the Dwarf Tomato project. They have worked over the last few years to create varieties that are dwarfs that will produce like regular sized tomatoes, like slicing tomatoes. Now, not like 2-pound tomatoes, but you know, like 8-10 ounce tomatoes on a dwarf plant that you could grow in a container, which is pretty awesome. Katie is actually trying a couple of their dwarf varieties this year. I'm looking to add dwarf varieties to my list of like plants that I sell for next year, because a lot of people wanted container varieties and I only had a couple of the mini bell available. So next year I'm going to have more dwarf or container varieties available. And I'm also going to do, I think, maybe one more red tomato variety, because everybody wanted red tomatoes, which I mean, okay, like I get it, but like my favorite color of tomato is yellow. So, I don't know, people want the red tomatoes, the big red tomatoes. So I'm looking at a couple varieties from Tomato Fest for next year. I haven't really decided on any yet. It's literally May, so I have some time to think. But yeah, these 2 cherry tomatoes I'm super excited for. And the triple crop, I had to start more because I sold everything that I had in here, and so I just started more seeds. So these triple crops that are in here, one of them is mine. And like, I mean, honestly, it's gonna be next week before they can go in the ground anyway, so I'm not real concerned about the size. This one is not tiny. I mean, it's getting pretty big. It has a few sets of true leaves. This will be ready to go in the ground in a week or 2. I mean, honestly, I could put it in the ground right now. I mean, not right now because of the weather, but the size, I could put it in the ground and it would be fine. I also have over here all my peppers. So all the peppers are over here. A few of them, the ones I'm keeping for myself, which, I mean, are all of these, I guess. I have a couple extra jalapeno plants, but that's pretty much it. But the ones that I am for sure keeping, I topped. You can see down here where I cut the top of the plant off. So basically, like this one I didn't top. So if I were gonna top this plant, I would just take all of this that's right here at the very top and just cut it off at the next set of leaves. And that just encourages the plant to be more bushy. Like this one I didn't top, but you can see that it has all these leaves coming in on the branches, and that's what I want. This is a pepperoncini. Look at this guy. He has, I'm gonna get him out. He has all kinds of branches. He like split at the base. Look at that. Huh, interesting. So this is my one pepperoncini that looks, actually it looks really good. The other one looks like this. And I don't know why. Don't know why he looks like that. That one's probably just gonna end up going in the compost bin because I don't know what his deal is. So I didn't sell any peppers this year. I just wasn't super confident in my ability to grow them to like selling size in time. I think next year I probably will sell some. Probably just jalapenos and bells. I probably won't do anything more than that because peppers just still kind of stress me out because they're just finicky. Like getting them to germinate is finicky, and I don't know. They just elude me a little bit. Yeah, that's what's going on out here. This tray of herbs back here, all of that. That also has some squash in it too. Some yellow crookneck and some delicata squash. And it also has some marigolds, and the rest of it's just herbs. Those are all mine. Now, I'm gonna, obviously I have all this basil in here. I'm gonna plant all that basil pretty much. Yeah, next week, this greenhouse will be a lot more empty. So I cannot wait. I can't wait to get everything in the ground. The tomatoes especially, because they are starting to look rough. And every day I come out here and I find blossoms I have to pick off. Like every day. Yesterday I came out and I had to pick one off that was open. And I was like, no sir, no sir. It is not time. You are in a pot in the greenhouse. It is not time for you to blossom. What the heck? Eventually I will let them blossom. But for now, the answer is no sir. So I'm gonna go inside and get to work. So thanks for watching this weird morning garden walk. Even though I didn't walk, I just stood in the greenhouse because it's raining. I hope your plants stay safe if you have a frost coming. And otherwise, good luck, and I will see you in the next one.